Okay, so completing the square leads us into figuring out how to get the equation of a circle from what's called general form into center radius form. So all of these are in general form. General form for circles have two variables. They've got x and they've got y. Yesterday when we were looking for the center and the radius, we were switching out the center symbols, and then we were squaring the radius, or you were square rooting the radius and switching the center numbers, okay? Today, we're gonna, like I said, be going from general form into center radius form so that eventually we can figure out what the center and the radius is. So what we're gonna be doing is completing the square twice on these. The first thing that you have to make sure that you have is the x's together and the y's together, and a constant needs to be moved to the other side. Typically, this is in the form of x squared plus y squared plus 10x minus 6y minus 32 equals 0. That's typically what it's in the form of. What they did was they grouped the x's together, and then they grouped the y's together, and then they moved the constant to the other side, just like you do when you complete the square on one variable. So what we're going to do for this problem is we're going to input a blank right here, and we're going to input a blank right here. If I have two blanks on the left, you're going to need two blanks on the right. So I'm going to rewrite this so that we have x squared plus 10x, and then I can go ahead and put plus a blank, and then we have y squared minus 6y, and then we have plus a blank, equals that 32 that's already on the right, and then you're going to need a blank for the x's when you complete the square for x, and then you're going to need a blank for the y when you complete the square on the y. So all we've done right now is just rewrite the problem and insert a blank, 2 on the left and 2 on the right. From there, you're going to complete the square. So you're going to take this middle number, which is 10. I'm going to divide it by 2, which is 5, and then we're going to square it. It's always divide by 2 and square it. We get 25. I'm going to put 25 in both blanks. And then you're going to do the same thing with the number next to the y. It's a negative 6. We're going to do divide by 2, and then we get negative 3. And then I'm going to square it, and you get positive 9. So we're going to put positive 9 in both blanks. So instead of completing the square on one variable, it's two variables. After that, you're going to have parentheses with an x squared plus parenthesis with a y, and then we've got equals. You're going to combine 32 plus 25 plus 9 to get 66. When you complete the square, we got to figure out what's going in the parentheses with the x. Two numbers that multiply to 25 and combine to 10 is 5 and 5. Both are positive. It's the same number, so we put a 5. And then over here for the y, I need two numbers that multiply to 9 and combine to negative 6. It's a negative 6, so it's not going to be just 3. It's going to be negative 3. And this is our final answer. From here, you'd be able to pick out the center and the radius. So we're just completing the square now twice, unlike what we just did was once. We're going to try it again on this number 2. So we're going to complete the square on two variables. So I have to make sure that the x's are grouped together, which they are, and then we're going to make sure that the y's are grouped together, which they are. We're going to insert a blank after the x, and I'm going to insert a blank after the y. So we rewrite this. We've got x squared minus 2x, and then we've got plus a blank, and then we've got plus y squared plus 4y, and then I have plus another blank, and then this whole thing equals 17, and then we have two blanks, one for completing the square on x and another for completing the square on the y. So we're going to go to the middle number for x, which is a negative 2. I'm going to divide that by 2, which is negative 1. And then I'm going to square negative 1, which is positive 1. That's going to go in both blanks. And then you're going to do it again. Divide 4 by 2 to get 2, and then you're going to square it. Then you have 4. So we're going to have parentheses with an x, parentheses with a y, and then you're going to combine 17 plus 1 plus 4, which equals 22. For completing the square with x, you're going to get two numbers that multiply to 1 and combine to -2. The only numbers that'll work that multiply to 1 are 1 and 1. So to combine it to -2, they'd have to be both negative. -1 minus 1 is -2, and they both combine to +1. Over here for the y, we've got two numbers that multiply to 4 and combine to 4. It'll be 2 and 2, both positive. So we have +2. And then we're going to go ahead and box up our answer because this is our final answer. All right. I'm just going to scroll down to number 4, right below it. Right below it. I'm going to make sure that my x's are grouped together, which they are, and we can go ahead and insert a blank next to the x. We don't have to insert a blank next to the y squared because I don't have a y. There's no plus y. Unlike these previous ones where there was a y, this one had a y, and we got to insert it next to the y. There's no y, so we don't have to actually complete the square. It's done. Right, so I'm just going to insert one blank. So we have x squared plus 4x, and then we have plus a blank, and then we have plus y squared equals 11. And then since I only have one blank on the left, you only need one blank on the right. So again, we're not completing the square on the y because there's nothing to divide. I can't divide anything by 2. There's nothing there. So I can take this 4. I'm going to divide that by 2, and I get 2. Squared, and I get 4. So we're going to go ahead and put 4 in both blanks. And essentially, we're done completing the square. We can jump right to the equation of a circle. We've got parentheses with an x, close parentheses squared, plus y squared equals, and then we've got 11 plus 4, which is just 15. We just have to figure out what's going to go inside of this parentheses. So we're going to go ahead and figure out two numbers that multiply to 4 and combine to 4, which is correct. 2. And this is our answer. Jump on down to number 5. Number 5 is a little bit weird. We want to do number 5 because this is the form. So we've got x squared plus 8x plus y squared plus 6y. And then we've got plus 5 equals 32. Problem with this one is that this -5 is on the left. You cannot have any constants on the left. They all have to be moved over to the right in order to complete the square. So we're going to go ahead and subtract 5 from both sides. Change my color. And now I can go ahead and insert my blanks. I'm going to insert a blank right here. And I'm going to insert a blank right here. All right, and make sure that you subtract that 5 from both sides so that all your constants are on the right side. And they can only be on the right side in order to complete the square. So we've got x squared plus 8x. And then I can go ahead and put plus blank. And then we've got plus y squared plus 6y. And then I go ahead and put plus blank. And we've got equals 32 minus 5, which is 27. This problem, we're completing the square on the x and the y, so I can go ahead and put 2 blanks on the right-hand side. All right. I'm going to go ahead and pause my screen. You guys are going to finish the rest of this problem.